Hi, this is Tim Donner with LibertyNation.com. So for all these months since Donald Trump first sent out a tweet saying he had his wires tapped by President Obama, the establishment media has ridiculed the president, completely dismissing the possibility that it really happened. But now it turns out Trump may have been right all along. Here to discuss this is Scott Cosenza, legal correspondent for LibertyNation.com. And Scott, tell us about the breaking reports about wiretapping of the Trump campaign by the Obama administration.
Tim, this news story is that Paul Manafort, who has been Trump's senior advisor and at one point at least for a time his campaign director, was the target of multiple FBI investigations and wiretaps going back to 2014, and we presume including while he lived at Trump Tower. And so Donald Trump had previously said that he was bugged, and they made him, he was mocked for that assertion. And it seems like it's likely he was at least caught up in some of the Manafort wiretaps. We don't know the full breadth of that yet, but we do know that Manafort was tapped during the time when he was both senior advisor and campaign and head of the campaign, and also while he lived at Trump Tower.
Scott, you point out in your story on LibertyNation.com that the FISA court, which granted the warrant for Obama's FBI to wiretap the Trump campaign, has approved 100% of the warrants requested from them over the last year or so. I mean, what's the point of even having a FISA court?
Tim, yes, that was the statistic I cited was for the first year that we know that or that was reported that Manafort was tapped, and that was for 2014. I think it was just in excess of 1,500 applications, if I recall, and the court granted every one. And the reason why I did say that is because I thought it was indicative of a court that was insufficiently skeptical of the assertions of warrant applicants if they were to grant every warrant that application that was put before them in excess of 1,500. If there were 6 warrant applications put before them, they granted all 6, we might be able to say, well, obviously they only put forth the very serious cases. But when there's well over 1,000 and there's not a single instance where the court says to the investigators, you haven't quite developed sufficient cause here to grant the warrant, I think that the results speak for themselves, right? It just doesn't pass the smell test to me, Tim.
Scott, you're a constitutional lawyer. From a legal standpoint, do you think the wiretapping is defensible, or is it an outrageous constitutional violation?
Tim, I think it would be too far into Monday morning quarterbacking for me to give you an opinion on that without having seen the warrant or the warrant application or affidavits in furtherance of the warrant application. Very fact specific, and all warrants are not inappropriate under our constitutional system. But when we see a court that has been so reluctant to turn back investigators and say, no, you haven't met the high burden that is established for this level of invasive conduct, violating, the privacy and absent the court permission, the rights of Americans who are guaranteed these protections, then I think it is outrageous. And I think that the secretive nature of the court doesn't help these matters. And if we look at actually courts that aren't so secret, just your run-of-the-mill, go down to the courthouse and see how those judges are handling warrant applications, we see, I think, this as epidemic across the United States legal system, where judges are insufficiently protective of the privacy and other rights guaranteed Americans.
Scott Cosenza, maven of all things legal and illegal at LibertyNation.com. I'm Tim Donner, and this is LNTV.